I'm going to be honest. He broke me. He broke me. Oh. And then I was like, no, this isn't right. This is not right.
We're representing Kathy in the criminal investigation, which we believe is going to be closed, and we're going to fully cooperate with the Secret Service in their investigation. We don't even think it should have ever been opened. She basically exercised her First Amendment rights to tell a joke. And when you look at everything in the media, all the times entertainers make videos or express themselves in other ways, you've never seen an entertainer, let alone a comedian, be subject to a criminal investigation. It's really outrageous.
I think that if you were a male comic, they would be coming after you as hard.
No, cut the crap. This wouldn't be happening to a guy. This is a woman thing, all right? I'm just going to come out and say it. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, but I live it. I'm 56 years old. Everywhere I play, there's a male promoter. There's a male who owns a theater. The people who sign my checks are white guys. They're usually older white guys. Okay. I've been living this my whole career. I've been fighting this. It is all over Twitter, but it's coming directly from the President of the United States to a 56-year-old female comedian who has no studio backing her, no network backing her. I don't have a big franchise movie coming out. He picked me. Don't you get it? I'm the easiest target. It's D-list comedian Kathy Griffin. You know what my life is? I go town to town with my bucket of dick jokes, and I try to make people laugh as hard as I can. Did I say that? I meant, okay, but first of all, I didn't grab anybody's you-know-what, so.
No, Kathy Griffin and Donald Trump are not equals. He is the President of the United States. We used to say that with great power comes great responsibility. We used to hold our presidents to a standard that they don't criticize artists and comedians. I mean, that is the point here. He's not just Donald Trump's real estate developer having a celebrity feud. He's using the power of the federal government against her. There's a Secret Service investigation of her, which is completely ridiculous. And he and his family is calling on Twitter for her to be fired from her job.
All my jobs.
That's what this is about. Yeah, one is not enough. Two is not enough.
So I thought I'd do a quick post about the Kathy Griffin kerfuffle because it ably demonstrates a couple of themes that I plan to focus on in my first series of videos for this channel. Like a lot of people, I hadn't heard of Kathy Griffin, the comedian, until last week, and I've got to say, her press conference is very, very funny. It is fairly obviously a very good example of what most people are calling cry-bullying, which essentially is where someone in the public eye reacts to criticism or defends himself from criticism by presenting themselves as the victim of the piece. Now, Kathy's victimhood arises after she was quite heavily criticised for a bit of edgy humour and resulted in various members of the Trump family calling her out on Twitter, essentially. If you've somehow missed the joke, so to speak, this is what got her into hot water. Yeah, pretty classy, pretty edgy. Pretty good visual metaphor for what the mainstream media think of Donald Trump, and ultimately nothing that Marilyn Manson didn't do 6 months ago. So fairly inevitably there was a bit of hoo-ha, which is presumably why she initially posted a much more humble apology before doubling down and creating a pretty spectacular double act with TV celebrity lawyer Lisa Bloom after she started getting fired from gigs and having venues cancel her show. So kind of so far so predictable, but certainly worth documenting. But a couple of other things I just wanted to touch on. Now, the first thing is obviously Kathy's coming from the kind of liberal end of the spectrum, very much personifying the pussy hat hatred that's been directed at Donald Trump. So it's an interesting enough benchmark in terms of how extreme behaviour has to be on that side of the fence, which can be quite ably demonstrated by juxtaposing Kathy's presentation with the hoo-ha over a rodeo clown who caricatured Barack Obama a couple of years ago and immediately found himself out of a job. But the other aspect I wanted to touch on is that a lot of people to the so-called right of the political spectrum, who are usually pretty quick to criticise victim culture, all predictably jumped on board and started demanding Kathy Griffin's head, metaphorically speaking, of course. Now, obviously, it was a pretty stupid stunt. and people have a right to be offended. And of course, it's entirely possible that an 11-year-old boy could be genuinely upset at the sight of his father's decapitated head. But that being said, the level of hypersensitivity over this and the predictable calls for sackings, etc., largely on the logic that, well, if it was our side of the spectrum, they'd do it to us, only helps to reinforce the PC culture that these people say that they are very much against. So yeah, pretty stupid all round. This is a theme that I'm going to be looking at in my videos. The first of which was Jess Phillips and the night of the 1,000 rape threats. Hopefully the next one will be out next Sunday. So stick around, and if you like what you see, subscribe, share, leave a comment.
Can't you see it too? There's an elephant in the room.